Aztec Nation, for the first time in football program history, we got ourselves a true freshman QB1. And we're going to talk about it all right now.
Here he goes. He's gone. He's gone. Touchdown, Marshall Faulk. The toss to him. Can he get the edge? Gonna try. He's got it. Record time. Donnell Pumphrey smashes the record. On the return, it's Rashad Penny. And Penny finds a seam. Penny to the outside. Penny will go the distance. First and goal. Fake to Penny. Open man. Wells. He leads. He gets the ball. And they say touchdown San Diego State. Dingwell back to pass. He lofts it up there to the corner. Touchdown Adam Roberts. Scared money don't make no money. Rocky Long and the Aztecs will walk away with a big win in OT.
And what was his reaction when you told him?
Yeah, I mean, he was excited, right? I mean, he's worked very, very hard for this, right? And you know, there was probably a little bit of sense of relief, right, that he had won it, right? But then again, like I think there was that moment where he digested it, and then it's like, okay, well, now there's more work to be done, right? I mean, like the reward to that and the reward in life is that when you do a good job, guess what? Like you get more work, right? You get a bigger plot of land that you have to manage, and there's bigger responsibilities, right? When you do something that's small and you do it at a high level, well, guess what? Then you get more. Like at the end of the day, that's a starting point, and that's for week 1 against Texas A&M Commerce. And again, like that doesn't matter in that moment. We got to continue to get better so that as we're standing here many weeks from now, we're all playing our best ball and we're all improving as we move forward, not just at the quarterback position, but as a collective club around that guy.
Gee, man. What's going on, everybody? It is the Sons of Montezuma podcast, and we are live. We want to thank you for joining the show. Of course, you know I am, well, at Mateo San Diego. You can find us at Sons of Monty on Instagram, X, Facebook, all that good stuff. I look like I'm alone, but I'm not alone. Joining me back from his vacation, it is K5 James. What's going on, K5 James?
What's up, man? It's good to be back. I'm glad to be back on. We got some exciting news to talk about, so I'm ready.
Yeah, man. It's good to see you. I'm not used to seeing you clean shaven.
Yeah.
You know, get the zoom in on there.
Don't get used to it, man. It's gonna come back. I just had a little issue with it, so I'll grow this thing back pretty quickly here.
Little issue with it. All right. Well, as you guys know, it's a pretty cool day. Pretty cool day. I mean, it's not every day that your program does something that just absolutely is not what we're accustomed to seeing. So we're going to get into it all. Danny O'Neil, the true freshman quarterback, QB1, announcement made today. And yeah, thank you guys for joining. I appreciate all of you in the live. I see Maria. Of course, thank you, Angelica, for your super. Really appreciate that. Our supers are open. Mr. Jeremy T-Mac, of course. Thank you for joining us, guys. We're going to get into all the questions a little later, the comments, but keep it coming. Keep the engagement coming. We're watching the Padres as we're talking some Aztecs, so we're going to have a little fun tonight. And yeah, it is great to have you back, James. I know you took a little trip. It's good to have you back before the season starts. Man, it's been talking about what Sean Lewis was talking about here, you achieve a little bit. Well, all that means is that more work, a next step, a new level, more to eat is on your plate. And boy, let me tell you, this season, James, we are coming up on I've lost count of how many seasons we've been doing this now. Sons of Montezuma, Aztec football. What do you think? This is like our 6th season, 7th season, something crazy like that.
Something like that, man. Yeah, it's been a while. I'm trying to think of when the stadium vote was. That's pretty much like the start of it. Jeremy with the comments about my beard, man.
You're scaring everybody, James. You're scaring everybody.
I know, man. I look like a completely different person without my beard.
Well, we're at this point now in our evolution of Sons of Montezuma, and man, yesterday was a crazy, a crazy convulsion of just excitement, right? The news breaks that Danny O'Neil is QB1, and it was just like, man, on a Sunday, like, just it put my whole schedule into whack, and it was like, oh wow, like, this is a shocker. I mean, I don't think I was expecting this. We talked about it last week, and man, I was for sure thinking he wasn't going to go this route. You guys can go back and check our last episode because we had Mr. Jack Hawley on it. How did you like that episode, James? I know you enjoyed having Jack on there, right?
Man, Jack was great, man. He was hilarious, dude. I love that dude. And yeah, Fiend did an awesome job covering my back for me. So you guys did a really good job. I watched. That's one of the few I actually watched. I usually don't watch our podcast, but I don't like to go back and watch myself, man. I feel weird about that, but yeah, dude, it was a good podcast, very entertaining. Jack Hawley was definitely a crack up, man. He was a great guest. But yeah, dude, I'm surprised, obviously, because it's a true freshman. There's a lot of things that go along with that when you're putting basically your program in the hands of a true freshman, man. He was a high school kid last year. But I mean, he picked that guy. He picked O'Neil pretty early on to offer when he was the coach, the offensive coordinator at Colorado. So he liked him for a reason. They had kind of a wider reach of guys they were looking at, and he identified him pretty early on in the recruiting process. So you kind of had the feeling that it was his guy. And they brought in Duffy, who I guess you could say is his guy, but that's not like a guy he recruited and focused on. So I think this was kind of what he was thinking when he convinced Danny to come over here. But he gave it an honest battle, and he gave everybody else I feel like he gave everybody else an honest chance. We weren't there at practice every day, but it seems like he gave everybody a legit chance, but he kind of went with his gut. It's what it seems like to me. Because this is the guy he's been on for a while. So,
and that's the tough part, right? Is like, we're not at the practices, right? So never fake it to any of you guys joining and listening to what we do. But even the media, I mean, you talk to a lot of the media or hear a lot of the media. I mean, not many have really, really, really seen, I think, the best of until this past week, right? I think that final scrimmage on Friday was going to be what was going to decide. And obviously the next day, Saturday, is when Coach Lewis broke the news to the quarterback room. And so there really wasn't a lot. I mean, we were there at the Fan Fest, and we talked about it last week. We weren't overly impressed with any one particular person, but you just knew it was going to be a matter of time. They need to get the reps in, and like, okay, who's going to really grasp this offense? But I definitely didn't see this coming. So just to put it in perspective for you, James, I mean, O'Neil, according to GoAztecs.com, O'Neil is the first Aztec quarterback in the program's Division I history since 1969, right, to enter the season as the starting quarterback. Only two other SDSU freshmen, Spencer Brinton in 97 and Nick Bowden in 2014, have started a game at quarterback in San Diego State's D1 history, as far as true freshmen have even started a game, right? So 6 others have been redshirt freshmen, of course, Kevin O'Connell, Todd Santos being the all-time leading passer at that time, Kevin Kraft, Ryan Lindley, Christian Chapman, and Carson Baker most recently. So, but to have a true freshman, it's a little bit different, right? You haven't been in the system for a whole year, like a redshirt at least gets to observe, at least gets to, be there, like a fly on the wall, right? And just get everything in. So it brought up a lot of questions from people, right? Good and bad. A lot of reaction from people who were like, oh, nothing bad about Danny, but just the situation, like curious, like, oh great, he's gonna. I reached out. I hope Dan's watching one of these days. I reached out to him. I said, dude, what do you think? Let the O'Neal era begin. And he was like, oh great, he's gonna perform great, and then he's gonna leave. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just the perfect Dan response. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But hearing some of the comments and kind of putting things back in perspective today, and understanding, yeah, O'Neal came to San Diego State because of Coach Lewis. You know, it should calm some of those anxieties down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you can't worry about that, man. I mean, guys are going to make a decision to leave. They're going to do it. So just enjoy them while they're here, and there's nothing you can do about that. You can't control it, so why stress about it? I think the big thing that helped him in this whole process was his decision to graduate early and get on campus. That way he was here for spring ball. And I think that probably was the biggest factor in him being able to compete and get on kind of equal playing field with the other guys that came in, because then they're kind of all on the same page. Other guys might have game experience, but they didn't have experience in this system. So that kind of put him on a level playing field with the incumbents that were here and AJ Duffy that was brought in.
Now, one of the interesting things or perspectives I think people had was like, okay, well, what does that say for the overall quarterback room? And as you saw there in the comments, Lamar 1107 elite 11 finalists though, so the kid has skills, and we're gonna get into more of that as well. Before we go any further, we want to bring in, okay, he was joined us last week. We all know him from the basketball episodes, and we're gonna make some room. We're gonna slide over a little bit and welcome in. Well, you can't stop him. You can only hope to contain this man. Of course, it is.
Microphone. I'm the microphone fiend.
Oh God, what is going on? What is that on your head and under your hat?
Let the mullet begin. Let's go. I can't wait. I can't wait for Danny O'Neal to start. When is the last time we've had a starting quarterback with a mullet? Dan McGuire? Is that we have to go back like 34 years? We're finally gonna. The mullet is back, guys. Embrace it. Embrace it.
Oh God. What is going on there?
Yeah, man. He's got me thinking about growing one too, man. I might get into the Mexi mullet going on over here, dude.
There we go. Show some support. No, I'm really excited. I'm really excited for this era, you know, to kick off, and it is with Coach Lewis's guy, you know. So who better to start it off than the guy that he recruited, you know, for that position, which is the most important position on the team, in Coach Lewis's, you know, words. So I'm really excited for him. I think he'll do a really good job operating the offense and moving the ball down the field quickly. He really reads defenses fast. He makes decisions quick, which I love. There were some things that we saw in the spring game with some interceptions that he threw. At the spring game, it's two-hand touch, you know, with the quarterbacks. So the quarterbacks are trying to make plays, and they took away his legs, you know, and so throwing over the middle, you know, couple plays that he shouldn't have made. But you know what? Hopefully he's a quick learner and he will learn from those mistakes. And so I'm just excited to see what the kid can do. And let the mullet era begin.
I love it, man. I love it. I love what I'm seeing. But let's be honest, Fiend. Let's be a little honest, because last week you were a little critical across the board. You were a little critical. What makes you feel more comfortable? I know you said a mouthful right there, but what makes you feel a little bit more comfortable this week as opposed to last week?
Well, I mean, like I said, I mentioned this in the podcast, that look, we only saw one practice, basically one scrimmage. Okay, so we're not seeing the whole body of work that the coaches are evaluating each day. So I have no idea how Danny O'Neal performed day in, day out. But I'm going to trust that if he won the starting job, it was because he was the best of the 3 quarterbacks. And so, yeah, I have some concerns with, like, maybe arm strength. Like I said, getting behind the sticks in games. Are you going to be able to throw in those 3rd and long situations? I don't know. We'll see. But I'm excited for this new era of Aztecs football and to see what Danny can do. Tremendous recruit that we got. Likely we wouldn't have gotten him without Coach Lewis. So I think that quarterback room, all 3 of them, the room has been upgraded from years past. And so I think the competition's great, and I'm just looking forward to, them performing on the field.
I see David Yoder's comment in there. Before we address that, I do want to show this brief clip from Danny O'Neil taken earlier today. And this was from Kirk Kenny, the sports beat writer for the UT. So let's take a look at what he had to say earlier.
Coach called us in, just had a meeting with him, and told me the news, and obviously I was pretty excited, but really it's been a goal of mine my whole life to be a Division I starting quarterback, right? So it was awesome to hear, but then it was kind of like the next thing, which is now week 1 and being the best offense we can be moving forward.
So did you have an inkling? Did you kind of expect this?
I want to say expected it. I definitely, the whole room has worked extremely hard for that spot. All 5 guys in there, we push each other every day. We're competing every day, and he told me I'm the starter for week 1. There's no promises for week 2 or anything like that. So as long as everyone keeps competing and working hard, it's going to be a competition all year, and just competing with myself and competing with the other guys in the room.
All right, guys. Okay. Pretty good words. Very calm, composed. He was excited. He was happy about it, but he was quickly reminded, okay, this is the beginning of a long journey, a lot of work ahead. And I like what he had to say as far as the message that Coach Lewis is sending down to him, not just him, but the whole coaching, the whole quarterback room, right? I know we put up the graphic, the big flashy graphic, we hype up the true freshman. It's a once in a program decision that San Diego State has made, but let's tone it down off the marketing tip just a little bit. Let's reel it in. This is a very balanced quarterback room. Going back to the comment there from David, he says, strong arm, not much touch. Seems to recognize situations fast. Freshman mistakes hard to avoid. Is there a true backup? So is there a true backup? I would say everybody's pretty neck and neck, so that's just my outsider perspective. Is there a true backup? Absolutely. I think any one of these guys are going to be able to go in there as the season progresses, as they learn the offense more. They're all maybe a little behind Danny as far as him getting in there early, right? But then you got Javance, right, who was there. You got, of course, he's been there. He's a top-rated quarterback coming out of high school. So we spoke very highly on him last week. I feel pretty confident that if he were to get in there, he would be composed as well. You guys have any thoughts or comments on that? Is there a true backup?
I wouldn't necessarily say there's a true backup, but I think all 3 guys that have really shown, I guess they're kind of like at a level above everybody else in the room right now. I'm pretty comfortable with all 3 of them. They all have things that they're not as good at as things that they are really good at. But I think they all bring something to the table, and I think they could be guys that could contribute to a winning team. So I feel pretty good. Like Fiend said, this quarterback room seems like it's been upgraded. Probably the best quarterback room we've had here in quite a while. So I feel pretty good about it. Danny's the guy right now, but things could change, like he said. But I feel comfortable with Duffy or Javance getting in there and running the team.
I think with how competitive that group is, you could see where if Danny doesn't perform, it could be a short hook, where another guy, if there was some distance between, QB1 and QB2, they'd be give it a little more leeway, you know, to make mistakes and whatnot, and, you know, given you know, more game time. But with this group, because they're so talented, I mean, if you have a bad half, I mean, does that mean that you get pulled for the second half, you know, or do not start for the next game? I don't know. We'll see. I don't know how Coach Lewis manages, you know, his quarterbacks like that. It seems like in the past he's had one guy that he's stuck with, and then unless there's like injury or whatever, then, you know, they're getting pulled. But I don't know. We'll see how this is moving forward week to week.
And that was something that we heard coming from Coach Lewis in the media, that he was going to play multiple quarterbacks out there, not necessarily on a 50-50 split, but that other guys were going to get opportunities, whether it's, you know, using them for different skill sets, maybe running the ball. I think that was interesting. It's something I kind of put in my memory bank. When I hear O'Neal, when I hear Danny talk about his skill set and being able to use his legs, I was like, okay, you know, he's not like the biggest dude out there, so I'm curious, you know, how they're going to utilize him in that run game if possible, right? So yeah, I think there's going to be opportunities for multiple guys to get some action in there. Whether it's a short leash, I don't know. I'm with you, Fiend. I mean, this is a whole new ball game to really see how he manages that group. And like, okay, you know, is he going to throw 70 times like what Jack Hawley wants? I don't know about 70. I don't know about 70. I'm open though. I'm open for that pass, Jack.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, dude. Also, due to the nature of the offense and the amount of running the quarterback is likely to be doing, the higher possibility and chances of injury are there. So it's good to have those other guys that can kind of do. They all can run. All three of the guys can run. You know, some have better arm skills in certain ways than others. Like some are more accurate. Some have, like Javance has a crazy arm. So it's nice having that, because it could happen just because, like you said, Danny's kind of a smaller guy. And some small guys are good at avoiding contact, and that's how they stay healthy. I haven't seen enough of him running to know if he's like that kind of guy yet. But yeah, it's good to have those other guys being capable and basically bringing almost the same skill set. They all can run. That's the biggest thing. So yeah, dude, that's a huge deal. And most likely guys will play. Like, even if he doesn't get hurt seriously, like he might get dinged up and they might need to bring him back up in for a little bit. So I think it'll be good to see and watch that happen and see what comes to pass. Excuse me.
What's going on, Rick? Rick Torado, he says, is the offense going to be primarily pass or run? I'm wondering how big of a role the quarterback is going to play this year. So making that joke, 70 pass attempts week one. No, Rick, I think it's going to be, honestly, I think it's going to be like 60-40 run. From everything I've seen, we've had Coach C break down, you know, the flash fast offense, or the Colorado Buffalo fast offense that he ran over there in his time. But especially at Kent State, he was running the ball a lot. But it was like the wide sets, everything was really to suck you in and spread you out and make you think, you know, it's pass. But no, they're pounding the rock a lot. So maybe he'll be a game manager. I mean, I wouldn't go that far and say that, but I think that is something that benefits him, getting in there early and knowing the offense, being, you know, there at the hip, learning from Lewis a lot, and kind of understanding the accuracy in the short passing game, the fast offense, just making sure it's consistent. And maybe that won over the day, you know, last week, maybe that won over the day. So yeah, you definitely ran the ball a lot at Kent State.
Yeah, I think your call of like 60-40, I think at most it'll be like 50-50. I definitely don't think he's going to go out there and throw the ball over the yard. And then a lot of the passing, like you said, is going to be like RPOs and short screen game, things like that. So even it's almost like an extension of the run game, the passing game that they do. So yeah, it's a very quarterback friendly offense. And if there's an offense that a young guy could come in and be successful right away, it's this style of offense. And Coach Lewis has a track record of developing and finding quarterbacks. So, you know, you got to kind of go with, if he's feeling it in his gut, I trust him more than maybe some of the prior staffs we've had, because they don't have that track record of finding quarterbacks.
I like Lamar. Thank you for your contributions, man. I like that. The difficulty of this offense is all the choice routes the receivers have. So making sure the quarterback and the wide receivers see the defense the same way is key. Absolutely. They got to be on that same page, making changes at the line. Of course, they look over to the coaches and get their, you know, their mid-snap reads and all that stuff. But yeah, absolutely. And it was tricky last at the Fan Fest, right? A lot of the receivers were out. We talked about that. So some of the younger guys really stepped up and elevated them. So we didn't even get to see, right, these quarterbacks with those receivers, a full receiver. I don't even think there was a full receiver set there this past week in practice, though, either. So a lot of questions, but those are good points, Lamar. Good, excellent points. Excellent points.
This offense really kind of reminds me of the old Oregon offenses under Chip Kelly, where they would just snap really fast, you know, and they spread the field, but they would still run the ball with like LaMichael James and, you know, guys like that they had. And so it just really reminds me of that kind of style. And I think that's kind of what we'll see.
Now,
yeah, man, he's a veer and shoot guy, man. He's one of Art Briles' descendants, basically. So yeah, that Baylor, like watch old videos of RG3 running that offense at Baylor. That's kind of what the offense is. Basically, that's the prototype of the offense that he runs. So yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch. I think the running game is gonna be a lot of fun because it's a lot of option and veer type plays. So I'm gonna enjoy watching the offense. You know me, I like the offensive lineman and the running game and all the option type stuff. So I'm super stoked for the first game.
Talking about the running game, let's get into that really quick after we show you guys, well, little bit of our tailgate collection that's coming out right now. sonsofmontezuma.com. We got some new styles, guys. Make sure you guys are checking out the shop. Make Aztecs fast again. Make it fast again, guys. Welcome to the jungle right now. Guys, go save 10% off on all these new styles by using the promo code MONTY. You can be part of the Warrior Society, our frat. We're starting an old school frat, James. Are you down? You down?
we got to come up with some good what do you call it, the rush week or whatever, all the stuff, that crazy shenanigans they make them do.
He's gonna show up, bro. Yeah, he's gonna show up to my house in the van and kidnap me. Get it on video.
I love that shirt, Warrior Society. Gotta love it. And then of course, Mr. Burgundy in his college days at State, playing under the late great Air Coryell. You gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. So save 10% off right now using the code MONTY at checkout. Like that, man. A lot of good stuff there in the shop, guys.
I'm getting that Make Aztecs Fast Again one for sure, man. I love that shirt.
Make Aztecs fast again and fun again So let's get into some of the comments that I've been getting, because guys, ever since yesterday the news broke, like my phone blew up. Everybody, Danny O'Neil, QB1, true freshman, Danny O'Neil. And, you know, some people had their concerns. They're like, man, you know, we better be able to run the ball, because Danny O'Neil may take some punishment if we can't run the ball effectively. And that's a good point, especially if it's going to be a little bit more of that, you know, 60-40 is what we're talking about. They're going to have to be successful on the ground to give Danny a, you know, puncher's chance, man. What do you think about this, James? You were talking to me about some formations and whatnot. I know we got some new offensive linemen in the fold that are some pretty big dudes.
Yeah, man. The difference in this running game is not everything's going to be packed on the line like it was in our old offense. Everything's going to be spread out. The receivers will have like crazy splits. Like they'll be we'll be on the far side of the field, and the receivers will be on like the sidelines on the close side of the field. Huge splits. So it creates a lot of running room just by the nature of the way we line up. So I think with the running back room that we have, with Cooper being added to go with Kristen and Armstead and Sutton and Davis, like I know Davis is out for a little bit, but I think with the guys we have back on the offensive line that are starting, whether Jones can hold off Borjan or Borjan beats out Jones, I felt Jones was really developing a lot last year, so I think he's got some really good potential. So I would be happy with either one of those guys starting at the left tackle position. And I feel good about the addition they brought in from Akron. So I think we're going to be able to run the ball, man. We'll see. I'm kind of excited to see it happen, man. I really love Cooper, and we're big fans of Kristen, and I'm a huge Armstead guy. So it's nice having like a mix of different kind of running backs, man. They could throw Armstead for his size, Kristen for his speed. Cooper's got like a mix of both. He's kind of like a Napoleon Kaufman kind of runner, like a little small, thick guy. So yeah, man, I'm excited to see this offense and what it can do in the running game. My favorite part of the game. So.
Yeah, Armstead looked strong, boy, at the Fan Fest. He looked good, man. He was running hard in that offense.
I'm bummed I didn't get to watch it.
Both him and Lucky Sutton, I thought, had really good games. And so, great to see those guys who are returning coming back. And then you add Cooper, who, he's leading all of FBS in the amount of rushing yards that he's gained over his career. So I can't wait to see what that guy gets when they kind of pull the training wheels. That's what I feel like they've had training wheels on this offense, almost like, going into FanFest and, people are out, they're hurt, and so we haven't seen like the full version of this offense. And so that's what I really want to see. And, we're not going to see Kristen until at least the second game, because he's out for the Texas Commerce game. That was a really ugly injury, that he sustained when they rolled up on his ankle on the tackle. But I still like the depth within the running back room. I think it's pretty impressive that we have, that talent along with the quarterback talent. I think we're really talented on the offensive front. I mean, tight ends, I just don't know about the line, if there's that much depth on the line, but everything else, receivers, we're stacked.
Yeah, it all sounds good.
Depth on the O-line is definitely an issue. I like the starting group, but beyond that, there's a lot of question marks, a lot of guys with not a lot of playing time. So we got to pray for health for the offensive line for sure.
And then we just lost one. I think Nico Green left a transfer from Tennessee State. So now that your depth is even more thin on that offensive line.
It all sounds good before the season starts. They got so talented, everything, on paper. I can't wait for this thing to get going so we can see some action against those mud dogs from Texas, the Texas State Armadillos. Who we playing? The Armadillos?
Southeast Louisiana.
Unnecessary Roughness. Great movie.
Hey, respect the opponent. Respect your opponent. Guys, so we are playing Texas A&M Commerce. And as we wanted to put out there, we'll be putting more out there next week. I think we got plans to make this a little bit of a Aztecs tailgate. Is that right, James? Something like that.
Yeah, man. I got my boots and my cowboy hat. I'm gonna be rocking, man.
Prove it.
We're gonna encourage people to come out dressed Texas style, man. Yeah, I know it's gonna be hot. I was kind of as I was trying on my cowboy shirt I ordered, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a little warm out there.
Hey man, rip your sleeves off. You gotta rip your sleeves off, dude.
Yeah, get the mullet, go Joe Dirt style.
Yeah,
there we go.
Joe Dirte.
Joe Dirte.
So that's kind of the plan right now, to do a Texas style tailgate. Hopefully we'll have some like maybe a brisket or something out there. Have some just have some good old Texas fun. Be good hospitable guests for our Texas A&M Commerce.
Oh man, we should hit up our guys at Coops Barbecue, man. Have them hook us up with some barbecue.
Yeah, that's a good shout out.
Yeah, I love that place.
And we will be down at the grass. Okay, guys, we're going to move forward as we bring in, you guys know him for a few years now. We've been talking some X's and O's with none other than Coach C. Coach Carrasco. He's been spending a lot of time in the NFL circles this summer. I haven't even had a chance to really sit down and talk with this dude. And this is like, man, it's been too long since we had him on the show. So we're going to bring him in right now because I know he's chomping at the bit for some football, some Raider football, some Aztec football. Just win, baby. Just win. What's going on, Coach C?
Absolutely. Can you guys hear me okay?
Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
It's a new little laptop I got here, so I'm hoping things work just fine for you guys to hear me. And love what I'm hearing from you guys so far. Good talk. Always love talking Aztecs, that's for sure.
Oh man, we're just having fun, dude. You know, it's game 1 coming up. It's gonna be hot out there. Like, I'm just looking forward to being out there on the grass again, celebrating with the all Aztec Nation. And year 3 at Snapdragon, right? Year 3. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm in
Already.
Vegas. Don't talk to me about hot in San Diego. I don't want to hear it.
So tell us about these Raiders. Tell us about these Raiders real quick before we get into Aztec football, because I know you.
Yeah, no, it's been
all up
a
to
lot
date.
of fun. Just came back from training camp and been at a couple of practices. Just had a practice last week here at the Legion. They're gonna have another one tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. And meeting the fellas, some of the coaches, and all that. It's been a lot of fun, and just seeing things done the NFL way. And seeing some of the guys and doing their thing. The rookies is always fun because you get to meet the families. That they're excited. They're just coming from the college atmosphere, whether it be our tight end from Georgia or our guard from Oregon, and hearing their stories. What was it like on draft day? That waiting period, not knowing where you're going to move to, but knowing you're going to be picked in day 1, day 2. And boy, it's just really neat to meet down to earth people who are living the dream, and they're living through their kid. And then, of course, to meet the kids, and they're all class acts and all that. But it was a pleasure to be a part of and to witness and meet these fine people for sure. Real cool.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I know it was you and we conducted that interview with the Thomas brothers from state before they made that, and they're doing some really good things in preseason right now, both of them. So big shout out to Cam and Zach, of course, man. Hopefully they keep it up. A lot of Aztecs in the NFL right now as well. Shout out to Jesse Matthews. He's getting his second opportunity out there in Atlanta with the Falcons. So hopefully good things are going. And of course, Kiava Tazino, I saw today, just got picked up with the Steelers again, right? So they're going to give him another shout out there. So a lot of good things for Aztecs in the NFL right now, man. A lot of good things. But let's talk Aztecs football, because I know you haven't had a lot of chance. Nobody's really seen a ton of tape on the offense, the Aztecs fast offense. But prior to, the summer and now the fall camp and all that stuff, we broke down film of Sean Lewis and what he likes to do, his tendencies, his style. When you hear that he brought in Danny O'Neal and that obviously he came with him from Colorado, being a Colorado commit, and now he's being the starter, the first true freshman starter, Joe, like it's unprecedented, right? And I even got a text yesterday from, I'm not going to say who it was from, but so-and-so said, hey, congratulations to you guys for having a coach with the balls to start a true freshman quarterback. And the message was sent to me very loud and clear. Like I said, I'm not going to reveal my sources on who that was that said that. But it raised eyebrows, man. It definitely did. I mean, we all know the pedigree that Danny O'Neal has, but for him to be actually the starter says a lot, man. From a coach's perspective, I mean, what do you think this says, like, overall, and the decision that this had to go into?
Everybody, you got to remember, this is a first-year coach as far as he's installing. It's year 1 install for everyone. So everybody's like a true freshman. Everybody. So they're all coming in with this blank page of learning this offense together. So whether you're an incoming, high school true freshman kid, or you're a junior in college and you've been at San Diego State now for 3 years, you're learning just like that true freshman is. And so it really puts a freshman really at an even stage. Who can learn this thing faster? Who's going to be dedicated to learning it, studying it, putting the time to rehearse it mentally? And everybody has their different style of how they let the playbook sink in their system. Everyone does. Some guys, they've relied on talent their whole high school life. And, in some high schools, it's 6 plays and that's it. Other high schools, it's a phone book of plays and for their playbook. And so their study habits might be a little bit different. Danny's a kid that has been on the spotlight now, for a minute on the national stage. And so he got a chance to see these other Elite 11 quarterbacks and what their work habits are like, getting to hear these coaches that are working those type of camps, what is going to be expected for this level of performer at that position. So there's no doubt in my mind that this kid came in with the work ethic, a game plan, that how is he going to attack this new playbook that he's going to be introduced to. He's known Coach Lewis for a minute now, obviously, right? Because he was headed to Colorado, wanted to follow in him because he really had a good idea what Coach Lewis wanted to do, and he bought in. And I think Coach Lewis understood right away that, you know, he knows what he wants with this kid's talent. And if Danny came in having better study habits, really acquiring the understanding nuances of this offense, more than the junior kid, more than the sophomore kid, or it doesn't matter. Even if it's a senior kid, it's an even playing field. And for a new coach coming in, trying to establish a program where really there's still a honeymoon period, you know, fast start, slow start, whatever it is, there's going to be that understanding. Hey, kids are going to make mistakes. They're going to have some things that, okay, that they don't get the offense down packed yet. And when you have a freshman quarterback that is showing during practice, showing during QB meetings and, you know, team meetings that he's the one answering the questions. He's the one that kind of understands where the reads need to be. And in this offense, there's a lot of reads, not only in the passing game, in the running game as well. There's a lot of reading, and it's a fun offense to study. A lot of fun. So creative, Coach Lewis is. And how he mixes basic concepts with some new concepts, and it's a lot of fun. So really, Danny came in behind nobody's curve. It was just, hey, I'm going to acquire this offense, and if I can acquire it faster than the kid that's older than me, so be it, you know. And Coach Lewis says, hey, I can have a kid for possibly of 3 years, 4 years as being my main starter, you know. And so ideal for a program. Is it ideal for Danny? He's going to be excited about it, you know, but there's going to be some growing pains for sure, nonetheless. And but it isn't ideal for that older kid. But bottom line, you got to win the job. And when you're installing a brand new offense, everybody gets back into that even playing field when it comes to the understanding of the scheme.
Awesome. I love that as far as processing the information, who processes it the way that, you know, maybe the team that direction needs to go. A lot of times you tell me, man, from a offensive perspective, because I know you're an offensive guy, right? How do you say? Because I saw on Facebook, it was like, well, the guys that were there before maybe, you know, were more deserving, but that's not how it goes. I mean, like what you said, everybody's on that even playing field when you're installing something new. Whether you were in the old regime, whether you came in with the new coach, you would like to say, let the best player win the job, right? Or who's performing best win the job. But I don't think that's even always the case, right? Like what you're saying is who is processing it correctly, the way that you want to install the standard that you set with the program within your team. It's really setting the standard of what you want. And that may not always be, you know, what looks the best on the field per se, or is it just really setting your standard, what you want?
No doubt. I mean, if you're an older player and you've been here for a while and you know a new coach is coming in, one, and this is not a negative, but it's just the reality, you weren't his recruit, you know, and so you have to show him that I deserve to be the guy that you can trust on the football field. And you know, the players might respect that guy because they know him and he's been a leader in the past. But that new coaching staff, you know, they're recruiting and they're trying to bring kids in and they're making some promises. And if you're an Elite 11 kid or you're just a defensive end or a shutdown corner kid coming from across the country, there's going to be some promises made that, hey, if you're even with that junior or senior, I'm going to give you every shot to start. And that junior or senior got to know that. They know, the players know who's being recruited, who's coming in. And, you know, day one of install at spring practice, at summer practice, when fall camp, you know, is really going on all that. They know, you know, and there's no such, what is considered fair in football is different than it is in the real world. You know, if the superstar falls asleep in a meeting, you nudge him to tell him to wake up. But the walk-on kid that, you know, is kind of late sometimes and he falls asleep in the meeting, then you're asking him for his playbook and, hey, it was nice knowing you, kid. You know what I mean? And it's like that, it's different rules then. Yeah, it is. And, you know, these players know that. They know that, and it's just something that is a reality. It's a hard reality, and so it's going to behoove all the quarterbacks that got beaten out by a true freshman quarterback to really have the professional approach to this thing. That, you know what, coach just made a statement to me. I got to step up my game, and I got to be ready, because there's no doubt there's going to be a time in the season, and hopefully that time is because we're just so far ahead, right? That next quarterback, get in there, show me that I can trust you to run this offense for the just in case moments of the season, moments that we don't want to ever see happen. But, they happen because it's football.
You guys got any questions? You guys
No, man, he pretty much hit everything I was thinking, man. Coach C always drops his knowledge on us, man. So it's always good to have him on and get that perspective from an offensive guru like him.
Yes. There was an old ball coach. There was an old ball coach for San Diego State who always said, for every freshman you start, it's like a loss on the schedule. And the closer the freshman is to the ball and the line of scrimmage, the tougher it is to get in there. I'm not going to say who that old ball coach was, because he probably tried to beat me up for calling him old.
And the reason for that, at the college level, an 18-year-old compared to a 22-year-old is a big difference. It's a real big difference. And, there ain't no weight room in high schools that can compare to any weight room program at the Division I level anyways. The strength coaches and then the nutrition programs that they got. Some of the elite high schools around the country, are pretty amazing, no doubt. We got one here in Vegas and Bishop Gorman, and amazing. And of course, Southern Cal has Modern Day and so forth. And they got the money, they got the funds to do that. But most high schools don't. And then for a kid to come into a Division I program where the weight room's top notch, where the strength coach is an expert in almost every facet of working out, and that 18-year-old's had a chance to spend 3 years into that. I don't care how good you are as an 18-year-old. When you line up on a Saturday across a 21-year-old All-American junior, or even if he's not an All-American, but he's a healthy, grown young man that, it's tough. You got to be a guy that, and that's why when we speak about Danny, and I know he's a quarterback, understanding what you're doing, knowing that playbook down cold, that's a long way of being productive, because if you have any hesitation, what you're supposed to do, you're not going to beat that guy crossing me physically, but you can beat him mentally. You can be a step ahead of the game until that game starts really slowing up for you. And there's some prodigies, of course. We've seen some true freshmen. I mean, Ricky Williams, Patrick, Henry kid. I mean, he goes to Texas, and he was a man-child from day one, from day one. So you have those type of examples, of course, but those are few and far between. But that's the reason why Coach Lewis's offense, and it did surprise me when the announcement came, because of his offense and what he does, he really does put the smart quarterback now in great positions to have answers to every kind of look you're going to get, whether that be a run play or a pass play. He really sets up and James said it earlier as I was about to join and all that, man, when you're spreading a defense out so wide where those receivers look like they're getting ready to grab a cup of Gatorade, they're just so far out there, defenses really have no choice. You got to respect that. And now they have to make a decision. Are they going to take safeties and kind of widen them out a little bit? And if you have 2 DBs and 2 safeties, well, that's 4 guys. It's basic math. What are you going to do with the other 7? And you could just tell by studying Coach Lewis's offense, boy, he really has thought things out so well that any quarterback that really dives into this thing and invests themselves fully to get in the brain of Coach Lewis, I want to understand and see what the vision is that you have. What's the correct read? Is it the will linebacker this time? Is it that number 2 defender on the outside of the box this time? Is it the defensive end when we're running, some power read stuff? Some of these plays I've never seen in my life. Power read, counter read. Are you kidding me? Zone read's been around for a while, but counter read, really? And then you're going to go ahead and splash in a quick flat read on top of all that stuff. some of these plays, the quarterbacks got 1 to 2 people that they got to read immediately. So intelligence, smart decisions, and the right arm, of course, and a little bit of running ability can go a long way. And when you're an Elite 11 quarterback coming in as a true freshman, and mentally you are matching the older guys, you better believe you're going to get the nod.
Coach C, with what you mentioned, the guys really needing to process this offense and get in coach's head. If you really think about it, Danny has had an advantage actually over AJ and Javance because he's been committed to Coach Lewis for much longer. And so he knows what offense he was going into when he was going to Colorado and then when he flipped to SDSU. And so the other guys, they're at their colleges studying their what the offense that they're running. And so in that respect, he's had actually more time to prepare for this moment than the guys he was competing against.
It's a great point. And that point of just now, he's coming in as more of the seasoned guy. You know what I mean? Mentally, of course. Now, that doesn't mean Danny's going to come in and just light the world on fire neither, because the speed of the game is completely different. It's the most shocking thing for the incoming freshman. And I'll never forget Brett Swain, the Green Bay Packer, his very first practice there at San Diego State. And I ran into him not too long ago, and he's a good dude, man. And shout out to him if he's listening, all that stuff. Great Aztec. But I'll never forget his true freshman year. He comes in, and of course, he's redshirting, but he's with the scout group. And I was in charge of that scout group, and I'm like, let's go. And his eyes are as big as little, pancakes there, the baby pancake, because he had never seen 3 technique defensive tackles that are 315 run like that. Linebackers that can run that fast as a slot receiver. And he was scared, and it was awesome to see as the fall camp continued and August turned into September, October, to see him just the true talent started coming out. He started understanding the playbook more. He got used to the speed and all. And it was just, so right now, Danny is showing he's at ahead because of exactly what you said, that he's got a longer term, if you will, of reading the playbook, understanding terminology, of seeing it and whatever else. But that day one, that first day of week 1 and that opponent, adrenaline kicks in, and all of a sudden for the first time you see a look that you never seen. Okay, they're inverting the safeties. You got a D tackle that all of a sudden he steps up and he moves over a gap, and you got to remember all that stuff. And then you think what's open, because it was always wide open in high school, it's not open at the Division I level. You know what I mean? It's the windows are a lot shorter, a lot quicker. And now you're facing DBs. They're not 4-5 guys. They're 4-4, 4-3 guys, and they've been coached up well. So your decision-making can't afford to be slow, but it's going to be. And when it happens, what Coach Lewis is going to have to really make sure he watches, and of course I don't have to tell him this, he knows this, is how does the quarterback handle when he does make that big mistake, because it's going to happen. How does, and how does Danny handle that receiver running the wrong route and making him look bad, where he threw it and it gets pick 6 and you got the fan base booing and, and all that stuff. And is this kid even ready? And the crowd doesn't even know it was a wideout that ran the wrong route, didn't hear the audible, or just didn't read the coverage correctly, because as you stated earlier, routes change based on coverage. Coach is calling, some concepts, and these are the routes based on a 2 safety eye look. But once that ball snapped and they rolled to a single high, things change. We need to have all the answers to every question that the defense is bringing us. That entails that quarterback and wide receiver have to be on the same page. And sometimes it's the receivers that did it wrong. Sometimes it's the quarterback did it wrong. And sometimes it's the quarterback kind of a little bit too gun shy to pull the trigger, and he holds the ball a little bit too long, and he can either take the sack, take an unnecessary hit. And James, you mentioned size can matter. And when you're not the biggest guy in the world, you want to make sure that you are not taking any unnecessary, unforced errors where you're attracting unnecessary hits to yourself, and they're going to happen because linemen are going to make mistakes too. You know, they're going to read the front wrong. That's a pressure they never seen before, and the guy gets in free. You know, so that's what I want to see from the true freshman. How does he lead in that respects when it's not his fault? How does he lead when it is his fault? Because both are going to happen.
Well, it's a good thing that Wendell heard on the trolley that Danny O'Neal has 6 toes on his left foot. It's going to really allow him to avoid defenders and gives that extra speed, you know. But you put that foot in the ground, you know what I mean? You plant that foot in the ground, and then bam, Aztec fast all the way to the end zone. 6 toes, man. 6 toes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wendell. Thank you, Wendell.
We'll have to talk to Danny to verify that, man.
Can we get confirmation? He's 11 toes down. He's all in.
Some of his film really look like he has 6 toes. That's for sure. The way he cuts, it's nice.
Oh boy, man, this is great stuff, Coach. This is great stuff. We got to get you back on in the season. Look at some actual game tape, and we'll actually be able to see what's going on. If there's any mix-ups, like what you're saying, get everybody getting on the same page. But I think that's an excellent point. You know, a lot of times the spectators and the fans, even those at home watching on TV, you don't really understand, you know, those changes at the line were made and miscommunication. I mean, boy, you're not going to get anything done with miscommunication.
Well, to kind of give you an example, being at training camp, Brock Bowers is a stud, All-American, probably the best tight end ever coming out of college. And here I am at training camp, and the quarterback at the time called an audible. Well, rookie, All-American rookie and all that, didn't capture the audible, ran the wrong route. Quarterback throws it according to what the audible was. Brock runs it the other way around. He gets snatched and goes back the other way. And media makes it sound like the quarterback threw a pick six. You hear the defensive players who knew that it was the rookie that made the mistake, and they're kind of, ribbing him a little bit, rookie, and all this stuff. And those are the growing pains that you want to see from that. You want to see that thing. And what was crazy is talking to his parents and how he's a perfectionist, this guy, he never did make that same mistake again. He just does not. It's so impressive, but that's what you want to see. And I remember dialoguing with the parents. I said, as a coach, you want to see mistakes happen in practice, because it really, one, that player isn't going to forget that play because it's gnawing at them. But two, it really gives you a chance to really hone in exactly why the audible was called, put him in that scenario, and it ends up being a good coaching moment. So I'm looking forward just to see how the reactions are, because there's going to be reactions from people that fans act a certain way. They want a fast start. They're excited, whatever else. And we're impatient. We're an impatient group of people sometimes. We want to see a winner. And, but as a coach, my coaching eyes, I really want to see how a kid responds when a mistake was made, and when it's obvious it was his mistake. Is he one that gets gun shy? And for an 18-year-old, that, I don't care who you are. And I've had some incredible quarterbacks that were just all world and had nothing but success. Everything was easy to them. And then all of a sudden they get on a playing field where everything is fast and everybody on that field is good. And they have a couple of practices, a couple of performances that are not too good, and they're a different person. They do not handle disappointment and failure well. And that goes across the board at every level. How do you handle failure? And do you just dust off, or do you go and hide quickly and you're a changed person? Happens to all of us, and so I don't care who you are. So those are the little things I'm looking forward to witnessing in this new first season of Coach Lewis.
Heck yeah. This is why I watch so much Bar Rescue, man, because John Taffer just goes in there and embarrasses everybody. What are you an idiot? Are you slow? Shut it down. Shut this kitchen. I love it, man. John Taffer for president, dude. I want to coach like John Taffer. Shut it down. No, but there is a lot to that. He'll go in there and just whip everybody into shape, show you where your failure is, and then let's see you bounce back and get it right, because a lot of it is muscle memory, right? But I love that, man. You get exposed. Let's see where you're deficient at, and then let's see you improved. And whoever can do that, you're going to set yourself up for success. Love it.
Yeah, not everybody handles that well. And Peyton Manning was great, because Peyton Manning told his coaches, coach me hard. Don't be
Mhm.
afraid because I'm Peyton Manning. I know I'm a Manning kid and I've been on the map since I was in high school there in Newman, and all through Tennessee and, Hall of Fame career or whatever else. He demanded, he wanted to be coached up hard, and he had the work ethic. He had that football IQ, of course, but he really wanted that coach not to treat him like a Manning. He wanted him to treat him like I'm the sixth string quarterback, scream and yell at me. Don't be afraid to do that. And that's not true for every kid. It's just not every player. And, so those are the things that remain to be seen. And who knows? I don't know what Coach Lewis's style is, if he's a two positives for every negative kind of a guy. I don't know. Or if he's just a negative guy and dealing with it. And if you get a little pouty about it, deal with that too. I don't know. We'll see. But no matter what his style is, Division I football players have to understand. And I know we live in a time and period where there's a portal transfer deal and kids can make decisions now to, I don't like it here, I'm out. But to get ready for real world stuff, not everything's going to be handed to you in a nice little platter. And, and sometimes promises are broken because things change, situations change. Boy, that kid's better than I thought he was, and that's hard for a coach because you don't ever want to, a coach doesn't go in there trying to lie to any kid. We want to see all the kids succeed. But boy, we do realize, well, man, it's going to look like I lied to this kid because now it's going to come across that I'm changing my mind, And so I can only imagine what Coach Lewis, when he told those older quarterbacks, breaking the news in that QB room, Danny, we're going to go with you. You can't help but think that the other kids are going to think, oh, favoritism, because he's known them longer and oh, well. And you know what? What I would tell those other guys, yeah, that might be the case. It might not be. Doesn't matter. You got to perform when you're ready because you're going to have your moment. Don't let it slip. Be ready for your moment because it's only going to help you. The players are going to respect you. If you're in your playbook, even though there's no chance of you getting in that game Saturday, they see you in your playbook. You're the guy on the sideline correcting that receiver when he's done something wrong because Danny's getting all these stuff thrown at him because he's 18 and he forgot to change the coverage or the protections and whatever else because he's 18 and he just didn't see that guy. He didn't know that that safety was 12 yards deep, is coming on a firestorm blitz, doing the A gap, and he started at 12 and all of a sudden he's in his lap. Those kind of things are going to be tough. And so those other quarterbacks have to be the guy that establishes leadership on that sideline, that when they see a receiver upset because he's open, didn't get the ball, hey, you did the right thing. I'm right there with you and all this stuff, but don't make that quarterback look bad. Just let him know. You got to be that. You got to find your role because then when it's your turn to be on that football field, guys are going to say, you know what, this guy helped me out. And he made sure I knew I wasn't going to be the guy to make the mistake and all. And he wanted to make sure all of us are prepared. And you just got to put yourself in a position that you're managing your expectations and you're also managing your disappointments of what this new season is going to bring. And we're all hoping for a great Aztec season, that fireworks are everywhere and it's an awesome season, but the coach in me has to say, hey, to the fan base, you know what? Let's be behind Coach Lewis. Let's be behind whoever he puts on the football field. And it should be a lot of fun, and be patient with going through these growing pains of this new and fun, exciting, because they're going to see some new stuff. James said it earlier. They're going to see some new stuff. And it reminds me more of the Auburn Gus Malzahn stuff where he was all about hurry up, but run the ball. And we're going to hit you in the mouth. But it was all hurry up, and of course he throws some swing passes. I know Oregon was mentioned earlier too. And that's true too. It's just all about applying so much pressure that you got to be ready, but boy, when you keep getting body blows, these gut punches with the running game, and then they throw a little 5-yard quick out and it goes for 50 for a touchdown. It's just so frustrating. It's a fun offense. I can't wait to see the fans' reaction when they see this thing in full force.
I know what Fiend's thinking. Throw the wheel route to Keenan. Get it to him.
Can't wait.
Coach C, I agree. And I'm more excited now hearing you spill your guts on this Aztecs fast offense, man. Every time you do, it hypes me up. Could listen to you talk football all day, man. I think Coach Lewis is that excellent communicator to where he's already shown that he could really communicate in a very, very great manner, not only to the fans, but just everything that we've been able to see. And so I hear you, man. You are also that great communicator, Coach. Thank you for joining us, dude. We got to get you back on once the season goes. And here's some more X's and O's. And just baby, just win.
Good seeing all you guys. Absolutely.
Good seeing you, man. Hope to see you in Vegas maybe this fall.
Absolutely, team. Absolutely. Good seeing you, James.
Hey, good seeing you, man.
See you, dude.
All right, brothers.
We'll talk. Man, oh man. It's always cool to listen to Coach, man. He got me hyped up already. Got me hyped up. What do you think, Fiend? What do you think? How you feeling, man? Yeah, I'm so proud you've been wearing that wig this whole time, dude.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty hot here, so where I'm at. So getting ready to take this thing off. But no, I got a foam mullet that I is in the mail. I ordered from Amazon, so I'll be sporting that at the tailgate. I can't wait. I'm so excited for Aztec football to be back. And yeah, Coach C got me hyped up, man. I'm just always so humbled in his presence because of all the knowledge that he has for the game. And, I just want to soak it up like a sponge.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll be looking forward to that mullet wig at the Aztecs tailgate.
The Tex-Mex tailgate.
Fiend, we'll catch up with you in just a little bit, man. We'll close it out here with James, and we'll get with you later, man.
All right, peace, guys. Go Aztecs.
Yes, take it easy.
All right, James. It's down to these last 2 weeks.
Man.
Hopefully, Coach C's got us all hyped up and a little educated on this offense, and with Danny O'Neil. How are you feeling,
dude? It's crazy that next week is game week. The first game week, man. I'm so stoked. Like I said, I already got my outfit for the Tex-Mex tailgate. I'm sure I'm gonna be regretting it at 2 in the afternoon when it's like 100 degrees over there. but hey, man, I'm gonna roll with it. I'm gonna push through. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I can't believe we're almost there.
Well, guys, make sure you guys, before you do anything, hit that like and subscribe button. Sons of Montezuma, we are continuing in our coverage of Aztecs football this season. Year number 3 at Snapdragon, and we can't wait. Before we say goodbye, make sure everybody sends out your positive thoughts to the Montezuma Mobile. The van is in the shop right now, and I'm hoping that it's a speedy recovery for the van. Got to have that thing out there for week 1. And don't forget, 10% off in the shop. We're going to have some NIL merch dropping this week. A whole lot of players, whole lot more players for you guys to choose from as well. James, thank you for joining, man. Glad to see you back.
Oh, yeah,
Let's do this
man.
again. More episodes to come, everybody. Thank you guys for joining. The Padres win. The Padres win. Have a good night, Angelica, Lamar, everybody. T-Mac, Jeremy, Maria, everybody, thank you guys for joining. We'll see you guys next time. I see you, T-Mac. I see you. Go Aztecs for sure.
Oh, yeah. Later, man.
Yeah.